always want to be somebody else. You want to imitate the life of Jesus, you want to imitate the life of Buddha, you want to imitate the life of Shankara, you want to imitate the... You can't do because you don't know what is there behind. You will end up, changing your rose, from rose to, I don't know, saffron to yellow, and from yellow to rose, depending upon your particular fancy. How can you ask for a thing which you do not know? How can you search for a thing which you do not know? That is my question. So search has no meaning at all. Only when the search comes to an end, what is there to express itself in its own way. You cannot tamper with that. You cannot manipulate that. You cannot manipulate the action of the thing which is there and which has an extraordinary intelligence. To be yourself is the easiest thing, and you don't want to be in yourself, but you would rather be somebody else, imitate the life of somebody else. That's your problem. To be yourself doesn't need any time at all. But you talk of timelessness, which is a mockery. To be yourself, do you need time? To be a good man, to be a marvelously religious man, to be in a state of peace, to be in a state of bliss, naturally you need time. That will always be tomorrow. When tomorrow arrives, you say, all right, day after tomorrow. That is time. Not this metaphysical or philosophical thing. I'm not talking about the metaphysical time and timeless. There is no such thing as timeless. I'm making assertions and statements and conclusions, all kinds of things, you see. You will object to it, but take it or leave it. I don't expect you to accept anything that I'm saying. You are not in a position to accept or reject it. You can reject it because it does not fit into your particular framework of your philosophy. Shankara, Gaudapada, Ramanuja, Madhvacharya, God knows what. We have too many of them here. So how can you understand this? The only thing to do is to throw in the towel. You turn your back on the whole business. And that requires extraordinary courage. Not the courage or the bravado of these people who climbed Mount Everest or try to swim across the English Channel or cross the Pacific or Atlantic, whatever their fancy, on a raft. That's not what I mean. What I mean is the courage. You got your Bhagavad Gita or your Brahma Sutras, I don't know what, Kaschit Dera, if I remember my early Siva. Yes, all these phrases, what does it mean? Abhayam Brahma, fearless. Why do you want to repeat these phrases? It has no meaning. It's just like, it's a mechanical thing. How are you? I'm all right. I'm fine. Just fine. I couldn't be better in America, you know. How are you this morning? Yes, I'm just fine. I couldn't be better. In exactly the same way, you throw these phrases at everybody. If you understand the way this mechanical structure is functioning inside of you, you see the absurdity of the whole business of discussing these matters everlastingly. So see, can you throw the whole business out of the window and walk out?
I think what he means, he is, when I meet him, you see, I've known him for about 5 years now, and I am many times reminded, again, you see, on account of my having read the Upanishads and this and that, I am reminded of in Ishavasya Upanishad, there is Agne Naya Supatha, oh fire, take us on the right path. I find a sort of a fire in him, which sometimes I fear would frighten a person who does not understand, quite grasp, even intellectually, what he is trying to convey. As I understand it, he is not advocating anything. His whole approach, if we would like to call it an approach, is no system. He just says something about his state, saying that this is your natural. But his whole thing, this achievement business, to getting out something, like something, comparing something to some imaginary state which one has formulated an image of by reading about those things and those things. That, he says, is all futile. It is strengthening the mental structure, it is strengthening the thought structure, and it is giving a life to it, which he says is all useless. It is the cause of your very misery, all the problems which he tries to see. It seems he had seen it himself, and the structure went fat. The whole thing broke inside, and as he says, he even does not know. That is a state of unknowing. When he says this, I am reminded of the words of Jnaneshwar, who says, I don't know what I am, where I am. Even avidya has gone and vidya has gone also. So I feel that only I want to remind some of the listeners' friends here that new in its expression, but whatever he tries to convey is as old as the hills, and as old as the hills, and as fresh as the vibration from that thing now. You see, it is as fresh or even fresher than the words that I am speaking, the sounds that I am throwing at you. It is more fresh than that. It is Sanatana and Puratana. You see, but he says when it requires total courage. Another thing I have known him, and another thing that I have noticed in him is a kind of, excuse me, I am talking personally about you, but since there is no personality, it doesn't matter. So, a tremendous fearlessness. Abhayam Sattva Shuddhi. You would again quote Gita, the Daivi Sampatti, the divine quality, divine that we use, because this is something which does not happen in usual normal men, in whom the animal instinct of fear is functioning all the time, he says. But he does not come out of that. I don't know how he came to it, but a tremendous fearlessness and a sense of abandonment. He is not a sort of a perfect specimen of all the wonderful virtues. He gets annoyed, he gets angry also. But for a moment you see the cloud of anger on his face, and after a minute you see, and the full moon is again of his face, you see, smiling without any, the clouds have all disappeared all of a sudden. So I say, he says there is no system, no matter. But probably in whatever he conveys, there is some suggestion. He says you don't have the courage to throw in the towel. You don't have the fearlessness. Have got to go. That's what he is himself saying. You see? He himself says that he says so when he talks, that then you throw out the speaker also. He says so. So I hope some of you certainly have got the hang of what he's trying to convey.
What is the method? How to achieve that? One question is,
your question is, when there is hunger and pain in the body, what happens? You mean what happens to him? You are asking, or what happens to you? Pardon?
I'll tell you. First of all, there is no hunger at all in the sense in which you use the word. It's pure and simple chemistry. And when there is, you see, what you call hunger, which is like any other sensation. You understand? The consciousness or life or whatever you want to call becomes conscious of that thing. And it is gone. It is not there. It does not push you see, to reach out for food. And so the next sensation is coming. You see, it's a continuous movement. You are looking at something, this is finished. Probably your body will become weaker and weaker if you don't eat food. People give you food, so I eat food. Otherwise, you see, there is no such thing as hunger at all. And the pain, there is a physical pain. Since there is no continuity of thought, as I pointed out, there is no continuity of pain. It comes, you see, in impulses like that. Just the way you are throwing out words, there is no continuity of the pain. I don't want to use the word psychological pain because it gets us involved in this. We'll begin to type things in knots. So there is only physical pain and there is no other pain. But even that physical pain is not continuous, and so it is not much of a pain in the sense in which you use the word. Yes?
What is the way, he says, of getting into this state?
What state?
Have you any way?
What state? When the movement in the direction of wanting to be in your own natural state or in the state of God knows whom you want to be, is your idol or your hero or your master, it is there. This movement in any direction is taking you away from yourself. That is all the time point. In any direction. When the movement is not there, you are in your natural state. So the sadhana or the method or system or technique is taking you away from yourself in the direction of the state you want to be in, and that is the state of somebody else. This, as I pointed out, you have the knowledge about this state. Unfortunately, so many people have talked about it. I am already doing mischief. Perhaps another mischief maker. You must take them all out. You see, on their back and their teeth and
Not now.
yes. Yes. Throw stones at me and walk out.
They don't have any.
My interest is to send you packing, as the expression has it. So if you can do that, you will never go to listen to anybody.
Those stones, I'll go to jail.
No, I will not take you to jail. That's the problem of the society in which you are functioning. I can't help it. I will not be the first one to complain about this. Whose body it is, you see, it gets hit, that's all probably. That's the end of it. Are you not tired? I can go on. That's enough, I suppose. I haven't said anything. But all you think I have said is the bad. You think it makes sense. How can this make sense? If you think that it makes sense, you haven't understood a thing. If you think that it doesn't make any sense, you haven't understood a thing either. This is just listening to this noise that is coming out, words, mechanically coming out of this organism. I don't know how they are coming. I wish I knew. I wish I knew I got into what state. You see, this is always irritates when people ask, you tell us something. What state you are talking? I know Mysore state, I am in Mysore state. How do I know I am in Mysore state? Because people tell me that you are in Mysore state. So, what state you want to get? That is your natural state, I am saying. What takes you away from your state is this movement in the direction of wanting to be in some state other than yourself. To be yourself doesn't need time, doesn't need any. If I am a village idiot, I remain a village idiot. Finish. I don't want to be an intelligent man. If my neighbor takes advantage of his extraordinary intelligence and exploits, good luck. What can I do? To accept, you see, if I say to accept the reality, this is the reality of the world. There is no other world. There is no other reality, ultimate reality. This is the only reality. You have to function in this world. You can't run away from this world. How can you run away from this world? Because you are that world. Where can you go? Hide yourself in a cave, yes, you are taking your thoughts. Wherever you go, you cannot run away from your shadow. It's there all the time. So you can't do a thing about thought. That's all the time saying. When you realize the absurdity of all your effort to do something about the thought is creating the problem, is misery for you. You can't do anything. When you can't do anything, when you realize that you can't do anything about it, it's not there. You are not using it as a means to get something for you. You see, I want to say this again. You desire, you see, this. If you do not want anything, there is no thought at all. You understand? Wanting is thinking. It doesn't matter what you want. Want self-realization, want God realization. You want anything, that means you have to use this instrument. These are not your thoughts, these are not your feelings. You may not like it. These are not your thoughts, these are not your feelings. They belong to somebody else. You want to make them your own, you have unfortunately made them your own. Can you tell? That's why I ask all these questions. Why do you ask all these questions? These questions have been put before to so many people, all the sages, saints and saviors of mankind, the holy men, dead and alive. You see, they're all ready to answer. They have composed a lot of lullabies. You go and listen to them and go to sleep if you want. That's what you are interested. You want somebody else to pat on your back and say, oh fine, just fine, you are doing very well. Do more and more of the same, and you will reach the destination you want to arrive. What is the destination you want to arrive at? To be gentle, meek, and what is that? Jesus is gentle, meek, soft, talk and whispers. You know, if you go to some of these monasteries in the West, Trappist, they talk in whispers. They don't even understand what the other man is saying. That you think is a spiritual point.
When a man is in love, he talks in whispers to his beloved. What objection have you to anybody talking in whispers?
I have no objection at all. I wonder if he is really in love. You don't even have to talk about it. You want to reassure your partner that you are in love with that person. It isn't worth it. Think of damn that love. That's not love at all. It's you can call it. In love, I don't want to go into that. You see, a forbidden subject. People ask me, do you have anything to say? It's a four-letter word. Perhaps you're not. It's like any other word. Dog, pig, love. That's all. In love, can there be any relationship at all? Can you have any relationship? This is your problem. You are all the time trying to have relationship with the people. You cannot have any relationship with people at all. Love is relationship. Life is relationship. All the guff, crap, you see. You memorize and repeat them. They all become fancy phrases these days. So freedom, first and last freedom, and the freedoms that come in between. So what is this nonsense? This is like any other tribe, any other riff, any other crap that these people are repeating. You have memorized new set of phrases. That's all you are doing. You sit and discuss everlastingly all this awareness. What is that awareness you are talking about? How can you be aware of this? Can you at any time be aware of this? If you are aware of this once in your lifetime, the whole structure has collapsed and it has fallen in its proper place. You don't have to do a thing about it. So it doesn't mean a thing at all. You can talk of awareness, choiceless or otherwise, or conditioning. Conditioning, what can you do about it? Conditioning is intelligence. You can't do a damn thing about it. You can't free yourself. If you want to free yourself from your conditioning, or uncondition yourself, and all that nonsense that is going on, how are you going to uncondition yourself? You create another conditioning factor. Instead of repeating Upanishads, you will repeat some other book. They're fancy books.
What is the secret of total happiness? What is the secret of total happiness?
Total happiness. Total.
What is the secret of total happiness?
There is no happiness.
What is the secret?
I never ask myself the question. So many people ask me, are you happy? What's that question? Funny question. I never ask myself, am I happy?
Yes.
Total happiness is an invention. You have to use
Invention of the mind, you mean?
Yes.
Naturally.
When there is no mind, there is no such thing as a mind at all. Where is the mind? Is the mind separate from the body, distinguished from the body, apart from the body? These questions have no meaning at all. You have no way of separating yourself from what is going on. So the moment you separate yourself means you have a knowledge about it. Either the knowledge given by the biologists, the physiologists, the psychologists, or the religious people. So through that you are looking at it. You cannot experience anything without knowledge. You cannot experience this at all, let alone Brahman reality. You cannot experience this at all. Only through abstraction. And what is that abstraction? The knowledge you have about this. This has been put there. Your mother told you, or your neighbor or friend told you, this is a thing. What the hell is that? You don't know. Apart from what you have been told. These all the time, every time you look at this, you have to repeat to yourself, that's a table, what for you are doing? This is my question. This is the continuity I am talking of. You want to reassure yourself that you are there. The I is nothing but this world. There is no I independent of this world. Maybe you will find some parallel in Shankara or God's world.
Oh, plenty, because it is the same thing that they have talked about. The world,
the abstraction.
Thought free state as in sleep.
Yes, I can answer. You see, the consciousness I am talking of, or about whatever is the right preposition, is a state where there is no division which says that you are asleep, that you are awake, that you are asleep. So there is no division at all. So I don't even know if I am alive or dead. This is my state, you see. I have no way of knowing for myself. The doctor can come and say, you see, I want to examine your lung. If your lung is functioning all right, there is a heartbeat, there is this and the other, you are alive. It's all right, I'm delighted. You see. You reassure me that I'm a living being. But
how do you know at any given time that you are in your natural state?
That, as I said, can never become part of your conscious existence. It begins to express itself. You see, the expression of that is energy, and that is action. It is acting all the time. It is not a mystical term. What I mean by action is the action is taking place always outside. The senses are working at their peak capacity all the time. It's not because you want to look at a particular thing. There is no time even for the eyelids to blink for a second. They have to stay open all the time. And when they are tired, naturally it has its own built-in mechanism which cuts out, you see, the sensation. And then it's back again. What is that mechanism? Huh?
Yes.
I can't
What
tell.
makes it come?
Supposing somebody gives you an answer. So, where are you? Can you separate yourself from that mechanism? This is what I am saying. You can separate yourself from the mechanism and look at it only through the knowledge. Whether the knowledge is provided by a physician or by a saint or a sage. And that is worthless because you are projecting this knowledge on what you are looking at it, and that knowledge is creating or producing this experience. That can never become part of that experience in structure. That's the trouble. You want to experience this. You can't experience this at all. Whether it is the consciousness that I am talking of, or the living state, or the state of not knowing, or the things that are there around you. How is it expressing itself? It is expressing itself as energy, it is expressing itself as action in its own way. If I use some words, it is aware of itself, it is aware of its own incredible depth, it is conscious of itself. All these phrases might sound very mystical to you, but you cannot. The brain physiologist, if I may quote somebody, I don't know, but it's there, says they are trying to understand brain. And they have to find out some means, that is to define. And now they have defined brain as an instrument with which we think that we think. They are not so sure. You cannot separate yourself from the brain and its activity and look at the brain. Can you look at your back and tell me something about your back? Somebody else must come and tell you. And he has his own ideas, fancy ideas. You have a straight back, you see your vertical, you see your... The doctor always observes people, and from his point of view, he says that man is sick, this man his back is not correct, the way of his talking is not correct. That's all that I hear from the doctor. Or if I see a painter, his description is something. So this is a thing which you cannot communicate to somebody else. Can you communicate your sex experience to somebody else?
Why sex experience? Any experience.
Or any experience for that
matter.
That's what everybody is trying to do. A painter, poet, and writer. He's trying to communicate some experience which he calls extraordinary experience through this media. Writing, poetry, or sculpture, or he's like any other artisan.
You wanted to ask some question?
How do you reconcile your existence in this world?
I don't bother. Do I exist in this world? Does the world exist for me? Where is the world? I'm not trying to be clever with all these phrases. I don't know a thing about it. Am I in this world? Am I talking? Am I saying anything? This is like the howling of a dog or the howling of a jaguar, barking of a dog or the braying of an ass. If you can put this on that level and just listen to this vibration, you are out and you will walk out and you will never listen to anybody in your life. Finish. It doesn't have to be the talk of a self-realized man. He will realize that there is no self to realize. That's all. There is no center there. It is working in an extraordinary way.
Sir, is the extinction of the sense organs, whether the state of not knowingness still continues?
Extinction of sense organs?
He has not said that.
No, I don't know. I want to understand your question. I'm not with you, please. Will you put it in?
If the sense organs do not function at all,
Yes.
for instance, with death, is the state of not knowingness still functioning?
There is no death. Because you are never born. You are not born at all. No, I'm not trying to justify it. Because life has no beginning, it has no end. Has it a beginning, has it an end? What creates the beginning is your thought. So why are you concerned about death? There is no such thing as death at all. There is a death, you see. So your birth and your death can never become part of that experiencing structure. If you want to experience death, you are not going to be there. Somebody else will be there. So it will be somebody else's misery.
Let's say, that is the day after tomorrow, at 6:15.
Day and night, that is my situation. If I tell this, you see, to a psychiatrist, he will probably put me on a couch and say something is radically wrong with you. Probably I am functioning like any other human being. He doesn't understand that, you understand? That is his problem, it is not my problem anymore. So, all your search for truth, God, reality, you use any phrase you like, is a false thing. You are on a merry-go-round, and you want to go round and round and round. How can you ask for a thing which you do not know? How can you search for a thing which you do not know? You all seem to know. You have an image of this state. From the descriptions of this state, probably you have already created what state? Somebody asked me, what is the state you are in? What state? Mysore state or Tamil Nadu state? What are you talking? What state you are talking of? This is my response. What is the state you are talking of? What is it that you are? This is your natural state. You don't want to understand. You don't want to be in your natural state. It requires extraordinary intelligence to be in your natural state, to be yourself.